I strolled into the living room after waking up. It was already past 8 o'clock. Yukari had probably left for school. As such, I helped myself to some tea and sat alone at the table. Alright, I should pay Yaginuma a visit to ask him about the incident at the museum. Hopefully he'll have more information about the serial killings, too. And so, it was with those thoughts that I drove over to Sakura Damon. I parked in the rear parking lot. I love parking in the rear. Fortunately, Yaginuma was right there at his desk when I entered CID Section 1.
お、いるな。
当たり前じゃないですか。
Oh, he is pissed. Yaginuma scowled at me with bloodshot eyes.
徹夜か？
あまり寝ていないだけですよ。
30過ぎると徹夜は厳しくなるからな。しっかり睡眠は取るようにしておけよ。
何をしに来たんですか？
Yaginuma glared at me like he'd just taken a huge bite into what he thought was an apple, only to discover too late that it was in fact a lemon.
昨日、東京都美術館で起こった盗難事件の話。
だったらここじゃなく、傘下に行ってくださいよ。
あっちに知り合いはいねえよ。それに聞いてないのか？
その話は聞いています。ですが、こちらの事件とつながりのあるものは出てきていないそうです。
つながりを否定できるものでもないな。
同一犯だとでも思っているんですか？
違うだろうな。ただ、殺人犯が天罰という絵に強く執着している場合はわからない。
空の少女に執着していた。
動機がどちらにあるのかはまだはっきりしていないがな。絵そのものなのか、それとも死体を装飾することなのか。
If it was the former, then I doubted the killer would let a chance to get their hands on the painting slip through their fingers. This incident was actually a vital breakthrough in a sense, since we still had no solid leads on the murderer. But unfortunately, whether it was actually relevant to our case was still one big question mark.
傘下には協力を要請しておきます。ですが捜査に加われるかどうかは期待。
That was typical police pride for you, alright. No one liked it when another department got up in their business.
まさきたちを不審者として捕まえなければそれで十分だ。
それは保証できませんよ。
Damn. Guess all I can do is feign ignorance if it ever comes down to that, huh?
ね、こちらの状況は
張り込み先で少し妙な動きがあります。
Oh.
笹倉啓太か。
最初の被害者、前園聖の雇用主。第一発見者で美術関係にも明るい。
土曜に横浜に行っていたと話していたが、死亡推定時刻は金曜深夜から土曜未明。
証拠があればすぐにでも捕まえられるんですが。
で、妙な動きというのは何だ？
最近日中に店を閉めてあちこちをうろついているようです。国立での被害者飯山一子に接触した様子はありませんでしたがね。
確か2件目は19日に発生だったな。
ええ、昼過ぎですね。
国立と吉祥寺だったらそう時間はかからないが、果たして警察関係者が話を聞きに来た直後にそんなことをするかね。
被疑者から外せと。
Not at all.
外す必要はない
That's
さ。あくまで俺の想像だからな。
Murder or not, there's still something fishy about him.
しかし、うろついて何をしているんだろうな。
犠牲者の見当をつけているのではないかとこちらでは考えています。
事前に被害者と接触していれば確実なんだろうが。
And there's the third victim. That train of thought was abruptly interrupted by Yaginuma's phone.
はい、捜査一課。何？わかった。すぐに向かう。
Yaginuma hung up and sprang to his feet. Oh shit, don't tell me.
先輩、今度は多摩川です。
The next one. That means
3件目か。
すでに所轄が動いています。
Roger. The floodplain, huh? Squad cars had assembled at a floodplain on the Tama River, not too far south of Chofu Station. Okay, so we're still in the Chofu area.
藪の中か。
土手からは発見されにくい場所のようですね。川の方から回り込めるようです。
Yaginuma and I made our way to the crime scene while the former read off a report handed to him by an attending officer.
発見者は釣りに来た男。毎日この辺りで釣っているようで、昨日まで死体はなかったと証言しています。
他に変化はないか聞いているか。
地面が鳴らされていたと話していますね。周囲のゴミも 片付けられていたと。
Okay, so they didn't just drop off the body. They also made sure it was properly set up, properly framed and staged.
周囲も含めて作品として扱っているのかもしれないな。
Though I'd initially suspected they dumped the body here to make it harder to find, maybe there was some other significance to this place. Went down to the bank where all the cops were assembled. There were tire tracks in the ground, suggesting a car had been through there.
毎度時坂はん
夏目さん、どうですか？
Looking at a dead body, bud. I wasted no time getting down to business.
どうもこうも同じですわ
Same shit as every other
詳しく
time.
は軽視しながらお話ししましょう
Though a forensics officer was already doing just that, I nodded and made my way toward the victim. Let's see it. The reek of death and decay deepened with each step I took as though it were a foul miasma. Oh, spooky. And situated at the edge of that snow-blanketed grove was a body identical to all the others I'd seen so far. Anyone familiar with the past corpses would have realized in an instant that this was the work of the same culprit. I looked over the body, taking great care not to disturb the crime scene. In a way, the sight of that once mortal woman recast as an angel, ousted from heaven, was almost beautiful. So much so, in fact, that I had to wonder what she saw with those dead, murky eyes of hers. She didn't see shit. I'm gonna be honest. Well, actually, we don't know how
身元やな
how
ん
she
かはまだ調
died.
べがついとらんようです
That's the thing. We don't actually know how she died. We know how she got kidnapped, but I don't know if that blow to the head actually killed her, or what her final sight might have been. Honestly, if it was anything like the last woman, her final sight would have been fucking burlap, but... So I doubt it was pleasant either way. Either her last sight was fucking crowbar, or her last sight was burlap. Not great either way.
今不明者や捜索願いから調べている最中ですよ。
だったらまずこの仏さんからいろいろと教えてもらわないとな。
I pressed my hands together and offered a silent prayer.
さて、始めるか。
Let's investigate. Alright, let's start with the face. Carefully studied her pale countenance.
顔を殴られたのか？
The area around her temple looked misshapen. The killer had done a good job of covering that up with either clay or plaster.
ちょいと失礼します
That's my felt around the victim's face.
胸骨あたりまで折れとるようですな顎関節も砕けとりますし、これが致命傷かもしれまへん
凶器の判別はできますか？
鈍器やと思いますどんなんかはこれ剥がして調べななりまへんけど
That's my pointed to the solidified mask concealing the victim's wound as she explained.
人相が生前と変化している可能性はありませんか？身元を調べるのに必要ですから。
輪郭なんかは変わっとるかもしれまへんなほいでも写真なんかと見比べれば十分調べはつくと思います
Sounded like she'd been whacked pretty hard in the face. Thanks, Deji. Hair? Okay, no, hair isn't different. Arm. Arm's been severed for the most part.
仕事が丁寧になっとりますな今度は骨をノコギリで切っとります
Okay.
時間に余裕があったんちゃいますやろか
切断する道具はなぜ違うので
To
しょう？
keep y'all on your toes.
今までのは全部違いますからな何か意味があるんか
Could be that.
単に試行錯誤をしとるのか
Could be they're just fucking with you. Being like, I'm gonna use multiple tools.
遺体の加工が目的ならば道具の変化にはあまり意味がないと思います。近くにあったか効率が良かったか。
骨をきれいに切るんでしたらノコギリが一番でしょうな
手慣れてきているという印象は受けますか？
この腕だけ見りゃ慣れてきた感じはあります
Seemed like we really were dealing with the same killer here then. Same killer was behind this, and the arms cut surfaces were a sign they were improving. Okay. The wings. On the victim's back was the most distinct trademark of these crimes. The angel wings. They served as a sign that this corpse had all but surely been remodeled off the angel from Exile of Paradise as well.
肌との境目も綺麗に処理されてますな。
これがあるということは模倣犯の線は薄いですね。雑誌にはここまで書かれていませんでしたから。
この翼に。
ん？なんや時坂藩。
Natsume curiously raised an eyebrow.
いや、何もないんですよ。天罰の天使を作るために不可欠なものというのは分かっているんですが。
前の仏藩では切断した腕の骨を埋め込んで補強に使っておりました。今回も同じことをしとるかもしれまへん。
切断した腕の処分ですか。でもそうなると次は腕を切断した理由が気になりますね。
全てを片付けられるのが天罰の模倣という言葉だからな。
Did it all come down to that in the end? Pretty sure. These wings truly made for no other purpose than to recreate Exile of Paradise. Probably. Did he? The body was seated at the top of red cloth, much like the previous two.
またこれですか。前と同じ記事ですね。
連続殺人だという裏付けでしかありませんな。
Thanks, Natsume. Couldn't have asked for a more literal red flag.
入手経路も前園聖の部屋からでしょうからね。
Titty. Okay. Stomach? Pussy area? Nope. Legs? The corpse was seated identically to Exile of Paradise, similarly to the previous two victims.
まだ死後硬直は残っておりますな。
死後どのくらい経過していますか？
冬の屋外ですからな。
2日ですか。
Would that have been enough time for the killer to remodel the body?
24日以前の不明者を当たってみましょう。
Agonum was scribbled in his notebook. The stage of rigor mortis in her legs appeared to indicate that she'd been dead for about 2 days. I can't actually click on the seat itself. What about the wheat field? The body was located on the floodplain of the Tama River. It's a fair distance away from the sidewalk and the
こ
bank.
こまでどうやって運んできたんだろうな。
The victim didn't look all that heavy, that said, so the killer could very well have actually carried her.
近くまで自動車で入ってきたのかもしれませんね。
Taking him a glance at the bank he and I traveled down earlier.
もともと私だらけのようだからな。後を見つけるのは難しいかもしれないな。
Furthermore, the surrounding snow appeared to have fallen after the body was dumped, so we probably wouldn't find any tracks there either.
周囲は藪の中も全て調べさせますよ。
I'm gonna kill you to investigate yourself for a change. Scene of the crime was a decent bit from the bank, so we likely couldn't count on finding witnesses. The sky. Scene of the crime. The hair. Got whacked. Arms, the back, the red cloth, the wings, the seat, the ass, the legs, the wheat. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've clicked on everything I could possibly click on. Stomach. Okay, I believe I'm done. Game, I swear to God, if you tell me I'm not done. Motherfucker, no, I'm not done yet. What, the eyes? Is it in the eyes? Sounded like she's been whacked pretty hard in the face. Not the eyes. What about the mouth? Okay, is it her nose? Is it her nose? Did they do something to her nose? No. Is it her neck? Nope. Well, I wonder what the fuck it could be. Is it other leg? Nope, it's not other leg. It's not anywhere on the chair. Is it in her ear? Like a fucking magic quarter? Like, what? What am I missing here? I clicked on anywhere on the head. The arms and shoulders all go to the same thing. The body, the torso goes to the same thing. The legs are the same thing. The fucking wheat here is the same thing. The fucking sky goes to the same fucking thing. What am I missing? No, I'm not done yet. Really, Reiji? Because I failed to see what else I could possibly fucking click on. The point of her chin. She got whacked. Yup. What about the top of her head? She got whacked. What about the back of her head? She got whacked. Okay. The clouds. Oh, it's the scene of the crime. Okay. The fucking grass growing. It's the scene of the crime. What about her shins? Oh, what about her shins? What about her knees? What about her knees? Oh, it's the same thing. What about the other knee? Gotta make sure we check the other knee. Same thing. What about them hips? What about how them hips looking? The same thing. What about the womb area? Already clicked on it, but you double check, you know. Double check the titty. Anything else on the titty? Nope. Double check them shoulders. Tracing the red cloth? Impossible. The wings? Okay, well, what if we clicked on the shoulders? That still counts as the arms. Tracing the red cloth. What if we... It's the arms, huh? What am I supposed to click on? I genuinely can't tell what it is you want me to click on here. Because clicking anywhere in the sky leads to the same thing. Clicking on the head leads to the same thing. Clicking anywhere on the wings leads to the same thing, right? Clicking anywhere on this background leads to talking about the background. Clicking anywhere on the legs does the same thing, either leg. Clicking anywhere on the torso area leads to the same talking point. Clicking anywhere on the arm or shoulder leads to the same talking point. The shoulder blade and wings leads to the same talking point. So what has that left me to click on? What has that left me to click on? What am I missing here, huh? Are you really gonna make me look up a guide just so I can figure out a fucking investigation scene? Don't. What is this? What am I supposed to click on? What am I supposed to click on? Her collarbone, maybe. Yeah, I get real text. I mean, I do know in previous games, right? There's times we have to get really specific with where you're clicking on. I understand that. But also, just how specific do I... her eyebrow. Let me click pixel perfect on her fucking eyebrow. Nope, she got whacked in the face. Right on them chompers. Yeah, she got whacked in the face. Right on that old snoot right there. Oh, what do you know? She got whacked on the face. What do you want me to click on? What do you want me to click on? I click on the shoulder blades, say the ends of the wings, same thing. The middle ground of the wings is the same thing. I've clicked on the thigh, the knee, the shin, all talk about the same thing. I click on the womb area, the stomach area, the chest area, all leads to the same thing. I click on the shoulder, the arm, the actual cut portion, all leads to the same thing. I click on the collarbone, the neck, the ear, the chin, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the eyebrow. I click on several different strands of hair. I click anywhere on this fucking sky, anywhere in this fucking field, and it all leads to the same goddamn thing. So what the fuck have I not clicked on? What the fuck could I have not possibly fucking clicked on? Because I can't click anywhere on the seating. If I click on the body, that counts as discussing where it's seated on the fabric. What I have to look it up. I genuinely have to look it up. Because I just don't know what I'm clicking on. But yeah, it just says investigate everything. What have I investigate? I look at a spoiler-free guide and it just says on 226. Yeah, investigate everything. Yeah, go ahead and investigate everything. What am I missing? First playthrough. This is chapter 2, Mercurio, right? On the 226 investigation. The lower left specifically. They said, click the torso, click the head, arm, leg, wing, the surrounding reeds, but then also click the surroundings in the lower left specifically. So if I click in this bottom corner, fuck you. Fuck you. Actually go fuck yourself. actually suck a fat fucking cock. Fuck off. Miss me with that bullshit. The fuck you mean? Oh, you are pissing me off. Well, see, you didn't click in the bottom left corner, alright? Obviously, even though clicking anywhere else around the bottom left corner fucking resulted in the same fucking thing. If I click on any of this area over here, oh, my cursor's not showing up now. I guess my cursor only shows up when it's in cursor wait, I haven't clicked back into the game, have I? Oh, wait, yes, I have. No, I didn't, because I brought up OBS. Let me click like save or something and then back out. My cursor, yeah, my cursor's back. There we go. So, like, clicking anywhere in the sky, clicking anywhere on the reeds, brought up the same fucking thing. So why the fuck would I think, oh, let's try this corner. Maybe this corner will be different. Guess what? Because guess what? If you would have tried this corner of the sky, nothing. If you would have tried this corner of the sky, nothing. If you would have tried this corner of the reeds, nothing. So imagine like trying two of these corners, like I go here, nothing. Well, so why would I try down here? It's just such a random guess to try down here. That's dumb. That's fucking dumb. That's fucking stupid. You're pissing me off. Anyway, a thin film of snow that had fallen after the body had been disposed of remained. Furthermore, not only was the ground around the corpse leveled, but there were no signs of blood anywhere either.
足跡はなかったのか
At present, the only ones I'd seen belonged to cops and forensics
警
officers,
察官が駆けつけた時にはなかったそうです。第一発見者も近づいていません。
which meant the killer had probably erased theirs after setting up the body. Worse, finding any was going to be a real pain in the ass, seeing on how it snowed afterward.
普段は捨てられたゴミが散らばっているそうですが、すべてそちらの隅に片付けられていますね。
You want anything devaluing their art, huh? That's an artist for you.
周囲の警官も含めて天罰なのかもしれないなただそうなると最初の前園聖が自宅で殺されていたことの不
Because
自
it was
然さが
something
際
she
立つ
asked for.
連続しているはずなのに、そこだけは不自然ですね。
Was there a particular reason for it? Yes. I don't know, but I'm done. Get me out of here. I stopped after figuring I'd gotten just about everything I could out of the scene.
ほいじゃ運びましょうか。
The forensics officers began carting off the victim at Natsume's behest.
被害者の身元はいつわかる
所轄にはすでに指示を出しています。2日から3日前に消息を絶った女性を洗い出せば。
That was good and all, but honestly, I highly doubted the victim's ID would be the ticket to cracking this case.
遺棄されたのが昨晩から今朝にかけてでしょうから、この辺りの目撃証言を集めさせましょう。
そうだなよろしく頼む
Though deep down, I knew that we wouldn't be having this much trouble finding the murderer if clues actually came by so easily.
しかし3件目か
Yup. Just what would it take to slake? I know that is a word, I just don't remember the exact definition of it. This killer's insatiable thirst for making copy after copy of Exile of Paradise.
少なくとも2件目と3件目は同一犯によるものですね。
天使の姿にされていること以外が違いすぎるからなそこに何らかの理由があると思うが
Unfortunately, I had no idea what it could be.
戻りましょう。もしかしたら身元が分かっているかもしれません。
そんなに早くわかるものかね
Agnew and I made our way to the bank where we'd left the car. The sun was already setting by the time we returned to the MPD.
焼き沼管理官
Investigator called for Yaginuma once he entered.
どうした？
I took a seat at the esteemed police superintendent's desk while he was busy with that. However, I could hardly see so much as a grain of wood under the piles of documents littering it. Guy sure does keep busy, huh?
何をしているんですか？
Speak of the devil.
なんかお前の弱みでも落ちてないかと思ってな
そんなものありませんよ。どいてください。
Yaginuma forced me up and took his rightful seat.
先ほども話していましたが、1件目の前園聖。この事件の違和感を考えましょう。
Okay. That made two of us then.
先輩の考えを聞かせてくれませんか？
俺の考えなんてろくにまとまっちゃいないがな。
I flipped through my notebook and reviewed my notes on Sei Maizono's murder. And indeed, there were a ton of things in them that just didn't match up with the second and third victims.
まずは、そうだな。遺体が発見された現場についてだ。前園聖は自宅、その後の2人は屋外だった。
Correct.
こちらでは後の2人は路上で襲われたと考えています。
Correct. Which means... she definitely wasn't attacked outdoors, because they sound... well... how did they find the body? Just want to double check everything. No major wounds out of the arms. Pedicured. Confirms the arms were severed at the scene. The arms were severed at the scene, not necessarily killed at the scene. Cause of death was respiratory from paint thinner. Right. Cause of death was the respiratory failure from the paint thinner. That's how she died, and that she would have absolutely died in her apartment because there was already paint supplies there. Pretty sure of that one. I don't think she was attacked at all, but you know, I think it was at her apartment.
前園聖は自宅、あるいはその近所で襲われたということだろう。
そうなると犯人が生前の前園聖を知っていた可能性が高いですね。
遺体や部屋の状況から押し込み強盗とも考えにくいからな。
If the killer really had been an acquaintance of Sei Maizono's, then that considerably whittled down our suspects.
すでに何度か被疑者として浮上してきてはいるが。
Yeah, our prime suspect has always been Sasakura.
普通に考えればそうなりますね。
Aginuma pushed up the rim of his glasses.
第一発見者でもあるし、話をすると何か隠している節もある。
決まりですか？
物証があれば確実なんだろうがな。任意同行くらいはできるかもしれないが、
監視体制は充実しています。
無用な刺激は避けたいところだが。
マサキを使ってはどうですか？彼ならばそう警戒もされないと思いますが。
あいつか。
That wasn't such a bad idea. I have to explain things to Masaki first before bringing him along, though.
あと一つ、はっきりさせておきたいことがあります。
シンナーを飲んでの呼吸不全。あまりにも不自然だからな。
その理由とは？
Yeah, no, she killed herself. It was definitely suicide. I don't think she was poisoned and then someone took advantage of it. I think she planned this with whoever, and so she took her own life, and then they did the thing.
自殺だったのではないかな。
待ってください先輩。
普通に考えたらそれしかないだろう。シンナーを無理やり飲ませるなんて不可能だ。
Indeed, there's simply no other way to make sense of it.
彼女が自殺であるならば、被疑者は死体遺棄、あるいは死体損壊の罪に問われるだけとなります。
前園聖の件だけならばな。しかし犯人はこの後2件の殺人を犯している。
前園聖の死によって犯人のタガが外れてしまった。
そう捉えることもできるな。
I think it's something they had already planned on doing. If Yaginuma was right, then that meant Sei Maizono's death had all but certainly triggered this madness.
犯人の目的はあくまで天罰を作る素体を手に入れること。そう考えれば納得もいく。
They'd found themselves faced with a dead body and all the other tools they needed to do it, and everything went downhill from there.
ならば笹倉は遺体発見後、遺体の加工だけをあの部屋で行ったということになります。
遺体発見の前日、日中しか奴のアリバイはない。一晩あればいい。
先輩は笹倉啓太から証拠を見つけ出してきてください。
さっきも言ったが、できるだけ無用な刺激は避けるべきだ。
煽っても構いませんよ。奴に動いてもら
I
った
see
方
no
が
interest in agitating
こちらも
him.
捕まえやすいです
Yeah,
から
you
ね。
would say some shit like that, wouldn't you?
捕まえるのはあくまで証拠を見つけてからだ。
悠長なことを言っていていいんですか？ 奴はすでに3人、いえ、2人は確実に殺しているんです。
I sympathized with his impatience. Really, I did. This was exactly the sort of thing police officers were meant to be sticklers about.
動いたら捕まえればいいぞ。
そう指示は出しておきますよ。
Later that day, right when I was helping myself to some after-dinner tea in the living room,
あら、こんな時間にどなたでしょうか。
Masaki? Yukari cocked her head when she heard the doorbell. Maybe Toji.
ああ、まさきだろ。
It's
来
definitely
るように言
Masaki.
ってあったからな。
それでしたら先におっしゃってください。
別に構やしねえよ。部屋に来るよう言ってくれ。
Watch, I'm sure he won't mind, and then he's gonna come into Reggie's room. Oh, so you didn't make me any dinner, even though you asked me to come by? Dick move, bro. I retreated into my room while Yukari went to answer the door. I warmed myself by the brazier until Masaki stepped inside.
何か用ですか？
まあな。お前、こっちの事件についてはどの程度把握している？
ほとんど知りませんよ。時坂さんが教えてくれないからじゃないですか。
That was because I hadn't wanted him getting mixed up too deeply in a grisly case where he'd been acquainted with the victim. Now when it could have affected his judgment.
概要は後で話す。お前の元上司の笹倉について聞かせてくれ。
笹倉さん？まさかあの人が犯人だと言うんで？
まだ被疑者の段階だ。前園生と関わりがあったからな。
Though personally I believed he'd long since had his fill of homicide.
前に聞いたとき、笹倉は絵の才がないと自分で言っていたとか話していたな。
ええ、芸大は出ているはずですが、今はただ絵が好きで
So
画
if
廊
he
をやっているとか。
a method of artwork that he could do well, maybe that's what got him addicted to it. Like he's tried painting, right? And he was never really that great at it. But now he's able to make these sculptures and they're so wonderful now. They're so pristine. I don't know. Maybe it's a
絵
thing.
の才能がなくとも造形はどうなんだ？
彫刻とかですか？聞いたことはありませんね。そういったものが画廊に飾られていたこともありませんし。
Maski's eyes suddenly widened.
前園さんの遺体の加工ですか？
ああ。この前の雑誌では両腕切断しか書かれていなかったが。
He gave Maski a quick rundown of the wings on the victim's back.
その翼の造形はきちんとしていたんですか？
きちんとしていたかは判断できないが、羽までつけて一目で翼とわかるものだったな。
そういうものを作るなんて話は聞いたことがありません。
What about Chie? Maski shook his head.
画廊でも彫刻などは取り扱っていませんでしたし、笹倉さんは絵に執着を持
That
つタ
also
イプ
could be a
だと思い
perfect
ます。
cover, though. That also could be a great cover. It's like, I don't even make sculptures. I don't sculpt. We don't even sell sculptures. I really have no knowledge on sculptures. Meanwhile, in his own private time, like, if they raided his house, they'd be like, what are all these sculptures? I took it that would also include Exile of Paradise. Let's see. So what we've got here is a man so obsessed with paintings that he would sink to remodeling flesh and blood corpses into angels. Yeah, I don't even need to reference past cases to know that's plausible. What? Oh, obsessed with paintings. Not painting, paintings, like the noun, paintings, okay? I was like, he's obsessed with painting, so he remodels, like, what? No, okay, I see what you...
天罰の絵については何か言っていなかったか？
あの絵が出てきてから一度も会ってませんから。
Much as I'd hoped we could avoid it, it was sounding inevitable that we would have to probe the man himself about that matter.
画商として絵を見る目はあると思いますから、見ていたら何か話してくれると思い
Gotta
ま
ask
す
him about Grill and Shell, though. Not that I didn't appreciate the vote of confidence, but the painting had only been on exhibit for a single day, so maybe he hadn't gotten the chance.
明日会いに行くから、お前も来い。事件についてはこれから説明するからな。
ええ、それは構いませんが。
もしかすると盗難の方とも関わりが出てくるかもしれないから。
Just then the door opened, revealing Yukari with a tray.
はい、どうぞ。
ありがとうございます。
Maski took a teacup from her.
お風呂も沸かしてありますので。
すみません。
Maski
入
bowed.
るならとっとと入ってこい。話すことはまだ山ほどあるんだからな。
はあ。では、お言葉に甘えて。
Yukari and Maski left the room. Sheesh. What do those guys think this is? A slumber party? Turn back to the desk and open my notebook. Ugh, it's gonna be such a pain in the ass laying this whole thing out in a way that'll get through Masaki's thick skull. God damn, Reiji. One step at a time. Don't call him a thick-headed idiot until he actually starts proving it. I mean, he will, but it's like, you know, you can wait till it happens. Dick. Masaki and I departed for Kichijoji the next morning.
大体のことは分かりました。
Masaki, who'd spent the night over as I filled him in on the case, nodded to himself while looking over his notebook.
でも、前園さんに自殺しそうな兆候は見られませんでしたよ。
そりゃ久しぶりに会ってすぐのやつに弱みは見せないだろう。
そうかもしれませんが。
If nothing else, hearing that from someone who'd once tried to take his own life at least gave him some credibility. Eventually, we arrived at the art gallery on Inokashira Street.
まだ開いていないようだな。
Hope he's still in, though. Glanced at that building across the street. Yagen was mad and should have still been watching from there. They'd be ready to take action in the event anything happened.
まさき、ちょっと裏に回って様子を見てきてくれ。
Masaki entered a narrow alleyway on the railroad crossing side of the art gallery. Since the establishment was a gallery/residence, there should have been a back door that served as the entryway to Sasakura's home. What are Yagen and his guys planning to do if he runs out that way? Just that Masaki returned before I could ponder that matter any further.
玄関はありましたけど、外からじゃちょっと分かりませんね。
その道の奥は抜けられそうか。
いや、奥に何軒か家があるだけで。
Which meant the front door was his only way out, assuming Masaki hadn't overlooked anything. And with that thought, I reluctantly knocked.
笹倉さん。
I heard shuffling from inside a few moments later.
ああ、またあなたですか。あれ、まさきくん。
どうも。
Masaki
彼
bowed.
はこちらの従業員でしたよね。
ええ、まあ構いませんが。どうぞな。
Sasakura let us inside, albeit regarding me with evident suspicion all the way.
今日は何をお話しすればいいのですか。
No sooner had Sasakura urged me and Masaki into our seats than did he get down to brass tacks. Apparently, he wasn't in such a welcoming mood today.
こちらの従業員だった前園聖さんについてお伺いしたいのです。彼はあまり知らないようでしたので。
I gestured to Masaki.
まさきくんは彼女の休職中に雇ったので、働いていた時期はあまり被っていないんですよ。
ええ。1年くらい休まれていたようですね。
海外へ勉強に行っていたんですよ。絵画修復の本場で修行したいと言われたので。
その渡航費用などはお店で出されたのですか。
いや、確か全額は出していないです。
それでも修行に行かせるとはさぞ優秀な方だったのでしょうね。
そうですね。彼女は元の絵と寸分たがあるものを再現することができますから。資料のない欠損箇所も。
それはすごいですね。
I'd heard Masaki talk her up, but I had no idea she was that skilled.
随分と才能を高く買っていたようですね。
もちろんです。彼女がいないとこの店も苦しいですから。これからどうしようかと考えている最中ですよ。
Didn't sound like talk from someone who would have stood to gain from Sei Maizono's death. If anything, her passing had put him in a rut. So then, what other reason could there have
先
been?
日お話を伺った際は彼女が不良に絡まれていたことがあったとおっしゃ
そうですね。あの時の一度きりですから。
Sasakura fumbled over his words, almost as if he knew he'd been caught in a lie. It really was sounding more and more like he'd pulled that story out of his ass.
それ以外のことで彼女が何か悩んでいたりしたことはありませんか。
悩みですか。さあ、僕はただの雇用主ですからね。
Sasakura shook his head before cocking it.
彼女の悩みは。
警察の捜査の結果彼女が自殺を図った可能性があることも判明しましたから。
I gave Sasakura's countenance a good hard look after unveiling my trump card.
自殺ですが、あの遺体は。
何者かが遺体をあのように装飾したということです。
一体なぜそんなことを。
Sasakura appeared truly bewildered. Had he already believed that Saimazono committed suicide, he committed suicide, he should have looked at least a little relieved to know suspicion had fallen off him. If he hadn't been a suspect, I would have found this reaction perfectly natural for the first person who found her body. Did I read him all wrong?
時坂さんは先頃発見された天罰という絵画作品をご存知ですか？
Much to my surprise, Sasakura ended up broaching the subject all by himself.
もちろんです。
それでしたらわかるでしょう。
捜査本部でもそういう指摘はありました。笹倉さん。
ええ。公開日に美術館へ行きました。
Sasakura nodded. Though his face was tensed up, it sounded like he was telling the truth.
彼女の死因が自殺だろうと他殺であろうと、犯人はあの天使を作るために遺体を欲していたと思われる。
待ってください。それじゃ犯人は彼女が自殺したのを知っていたということになりませんか？
I didn't have an answer for that.
少なくとも僕は何も知りませんよ。あなた方警察は僕を疑っているのでしょうが、僕には彼女を殺す理由なんてありません。
落ち着いてください、笹倉さん。
向かいの家に警察官がいることも分かっています。疑っていないというのでしたら。
So he noticed, huh? However, not only were my hands tied in the matter, but I couldn't tell him I'd think about it either. Otherwise, that would have meant admitting he was under surveillance.
笹倉さん、自分たちは警察とは。
Oh, that nitwit.
警察じゃない。
警視庁から委託を受けているのは確かだ。
Took every ounce of restraint I had not to kick Masaki's ass into next
警
week.
察官の張り込みについては捜査。
That was all I could tell him.
帰ってくれませんか？
Sasakura rose to his
そうで
feet.
すね。
Sasakura still wasn't in the clear. We had already asked everything possible, so we had no further business here.
このバカ。
You motherfucking dumbass. Get his ass, Reiji. I poked Masaki in the head the second we got outside.
嘘をついているなんて知りませんでしたよ。
嘘はついてねえよ。
I just omitted the truth, that's all. Yeah, right. Even I wouldn't buy that horseshit.
まあとにかく笹倉の態度はやはりどこかおかしかったな。
でも前園さんを殺したとは思えませんよ。
Me neither.
自分から天罰の話も持ち出してきたからな。駆け引きをしている様子も感じられなかった。
Does he have absolutely nothing to do with any of this then? I don't know about absolutely nothing, but I don't think he's the killer. No, that can't be. My gut won't stop shouting that he's not entirely innocent. See, I believe that. I believe he's not entirely innocent. But I don't think he's the killer.
笹倉さん
Or
が
the
実際に
remodeler.
天罰を見に行ったのか確認した方がいいですか？
あそこまではっきり言ったのであれば本当だろうさ。
Honestly, that was what made this whole thing so frustrating, since it all made him come across as the culprit.
笹倉が天罰について語っているとき、
どうと言われても美術館に行ったと話していた時、
眉間にし
Did that mean he was angry? Why would simply seeing Exile of Paradise make him mad? Was it something about the painting itself? Or had the memory of Seimaizono's body resembling the angel enraged him? Whatever the case, he hadn't appeared to be obsessed with Exile of Paradise, if nothing else. Guess I'm gonna have to resort to my secret weapon. Just really hoping we won't have to come to this
お
too.
前はもう戻っていいぞ。
時坂さんはどうするんですか？
桜田門に用事がある。
Darkest place in all of Sakura-Demon, to be exact. Rokshiki? We're gonna go talk to Rokshiki? I went to the MPD after saying my goodbyes to Masaki. Part of it was to report the morning's meeting with Sasakura to Yaginuma. There was also the decision I'd made, when the weight heavy on my shoulders like a ton of bricks. I knew this day would have to come eventually. While I couldn't relate to his knowledge, his experiences, at all, it still came in handy sometimes. Just as long as I kept in my mind not to play his games, we'd be golden. Yeah, you did kind of fly off the handle and deck him the last time you talked to him, if it is Rokshiki I'm thinking of, which I'm pretty sure. Found Yaginuma wrestling with some documents in CID Section 1's office.
ヤギ沼、
先輩ですか。
He spared me a momentary glance before turning back to his work.
忙しいか。
見ればわかるでしょ。
Splendid, your eyes still function. Yaginuma grabbed a piece of paper and showed it to me.
昨日の被害者の身元と解剖記録です。
Well, well, well. So I had to check it out before giving my piece. According to the report, the victim's name was Akemi Nikawa. She was a bookstore clerk working in Hatagaya who'd lived with her family in Sengaya Chofu. The local precinct were informed of her disappearance on the 24th after she'd failed to return home from work the night before. An employee of Sangawa Station reports seeing her at the station past 10 p.m. on the 23rd. Blood confirmed to be hers was found on the route to her house from the station, meaning she must have been attacked there. Her cause of death was believed to have been a skull fracture and cerebral contusion brought about by a blow to her temporal region by a blunt instrument. Likewise, her estimated time of death was also past 10 p.m. on the 23rd, same time she'd been attacked. Furthermore, her arms had been amputated with a saw, no vital reactions were detected, and the dismemberment was believed to have been carried out approximately 12 hours post-mortem. Last, but not least, no signs of rape were found, nor any indicators that she'd engaged in sexual intercourse over the past several days.
判明するのが早かったな。
捜索願いが出されていましたからね。
Agnum looked up once he'd finished organizing his documents.
年齢は2件目の飯山一子と近いかな。
So they were all around the same age. And that's the thing. Sasakota did mention she... I do believe that Sei might have ran with a group, not necessarily delinquents, but might have been a part of a certain group. And I don't know what, that's the thing, what her relationship to that group might have been. Because it feels like what's happening now is that the person who remodeled Sei's body is now going after the people who were a part of this group. Like right now, we don't see any connection between these people, between Sei, between Bunker Girl, between, you know, Field Girl. Yeah, there's 3. She was number 3, right? Third death, 3, I think. We don't see any connections between them just yet, but there's still possible there's a connection there. I'm thinking she was part of some kind of group, and something went awry between this group, or not even necessarily. Maybe it's just a group that I don't know. I don't know what to draw the connection from. I still think that Chie is the one carrying it out. I still strongly believe that, even though she's just a teenage girl. I think that's why she's able to get away with it. It's because she's so unsuspecting, right? Which really makes me weird for Yukari.
その二人に接点はありません。もちろん、前園生徒もですが。
That's what they want us to think. You just don't see the thread yet. It's there though. Yaginuma lit up a smoke.
二川明美について、そこは問題なかったそうです。やはり標的を絞っているわけではないようですね。
夜に一人歩きしている女性を狙っているというだけのようだな。
That's the thing. If my notes gave me the ages, like we could cook. Oh, actually, we have new updates. I might be causing trouble here with all the favors I've asked. You're just now realizing that. Say, apparently she's been working for Sasakota Gateway College. Supposedly got mixed up with some delinquents back then, but it's very likely it's not going to make that up. Say, I don't think they were delinquents, but I think went to the army museum. Okay, but what I'm thinking is Saimazono's murder, or just victim. Do we have victim? No. The bunker body. Ichiko Iyama. And then the floodplain body. I think we need to investigate body in Chofu. Murder. I do like that we have like a calendar thing here, but I'm just trying to figure out. I think the one detail I want, right? The one detail I'm looking for. The one detail I'm really concerned with is the ages. Are they all of the same age? Have they addressed that yet and I wasn't paying attention? Because I'm starting to think like, did they go to the same college? Then again, if they all went to the same college, surely the police would have realized that by now, right? They would have already tracked that down with, like, the second victim. Like, if the second victim went to the same college as Say, they would have been like, oh, they were in the same college, same class. So maybe that's not the case. But I'm almost certain that these women must have been in some kind of group during her college years. I think Sasakura wasn't telling the whole truth about this group. They were just like, oh yeah, it was a group of delinquents, sure. But I believe he was telling the truth about there being a group. There was some kind of group she ran with. I don't know.
ちなみに23日の夜、笹倉はずっと自宅兼店舗にいたことを確認しています。
ああ、そのことで俺が文句言われたぞ。
監視を解くつもりはありませんよ。23日も何らかの方法で
店の裏は行き止まりらしいぞ。
横の線路を越えるということもあり得る。
夜の中央本線をか引いてくれと言っているようなもんじゃねえか。
Trains pass through that place practically non-stop these days.
裏の家の方にも監視を回しますよ。
Wonder if he's found some way to sneak out without anyone being the wiser.
そうだ。今日は別の用があったんだが。
何ですか？
Yaginuma regarded me suspiciously.
六式だよ。
今さら奴に何の用事ですか？
今回の事件についてだ。
まあ構いませんがね。
Yaginuma strutted off to procure the key. Well, that's one obstacle down. Still, can I actually get the bastard to talk? Getting answers out of him would require me to have answers of my own ready at the draw, which meant sharing my reasoning with him. Fortunately, that simply amounted to an idea of what kind of person would remodel corpses this time around. It wasn't like I'd have to figure out who exactly the culprit was or anything. Just then, Yaginuma returned.
合わせるのは構いませんが、事件の詳細については。
わかってるさ。
Rokshiki was never one to be taken lightly, not even while chained, so I could definitely get behind that.
では行きましょうか。